Hi YouTube, this is Perranwell. This is the fourth part of the Perranwell station build, and we've now moved on to doing a bit of scenery, covering in the polystyrene that I'd previously painted over. And this is just a little view of a little section that I've been playing around with. Obviously applied some static grass and added a few little trees and bushes, and that's the Woodland Scenic products, and it's the fine leaf foliage. I've used various colours to bring that bit in together. There was like a dark green, light green, and I've used one that looks a little bit like it's dying off, but on the whole I think it works in quite well. Just move you around a minute. So obviously I've done that section down to where that road bridge is, and I've come up, put a little bit of grass in between the main line and the branch line, just back into there. And up that edge there I've used some clump foliage, a couple of colours, just to break up the ballast where it joins the wall. And then my little disused siding I've done with a like almost a burnt dry grass. A little bit more to do to that, that's really just in the raw state. And then we've done this section back through here in by the station into that bridge, and we'll just look around here. We'll see this side of the tunnel mouth, just giving it its first coat. Obviously here we've got a section that I did this morning, and you can see there's a lot of static grass everywhere over on the tracks, but this has had like its first coat. So what we will end up doing now is hoovering up this static grass. And I'll just show you something. Chuck Baker, one of our fellow modelers in America, he put up a video a few years ago, and I was very taken with what he did with the static grass clearing up. And I'll just have a quick show, just bear with me a minute. You can have a look at this. Obviously I've got the, just bear with me, if I can hold it better. Got the end of the hoover, and I've got like a J-cloth which I've pushed down in the end of the hoover, and obviously that'll act as a filter. I'll just do a little bit so you can have a look, and just bear with me with the noise. Right, that's just getting rid of the bolt that's dropped down on the ballast. So there's still, I need to go over it another 2 or 3 times. So I just drop the camera down a minute. What I'll do, if I pull this J-cloth out a minute, just through hoovering that little section up, we've recycled that. I'll lift the camera up and have a better look. Quite a big lump of static grass, and obviously static grass is not cheap, so it probably makes it, if we hoovered it up traditionally, we would have probably lost more than half of what we've used. So it's a good bit of recycling. But like I say, Chuck Baker in America, if you ever get a chance, have a look at his layout. He does some great work there. But I just thought I'd show you what we're up to. I'll probably do a little bit of static grass, and you can see the static grass applicator that I made probably about over 2 years ago. Still working, and you know, for something that cost me about £4.50 or £5 has been a really good tool. Proves you don't have to spend hundreds of pounds on this hobby. But I'm going to clean this bit up a minute, and then we'll show me doing a little bit of the static grass. Right, I'm going to do this bit. I've painted, you didn't want to see me painting too much PVA adhesive on, but what I do with this, I use neat PVA, don't water it down, lag it on nice and thick, so give it a good covering. With the way I've done it, obviously I've had the polystyrene and I've literally just painted over the polystyrene with emulsion, and then I apply a coat of PVA. Over here in England there's a big company called Magnet, and they specialise in doors, windows, kitchens. They do a tub of Bondit PVA, so that's 5 litres or an English gallon, and that is £6.50. I think when I bought this one it was £5, and I've had this has done most of the layout. I'll now get into the end of it, but it's been very economical. And for those who have been with me for the few years I've been doing it, I adapted a fly swatter and made one of these static grass applicators. I did a video for it, which I think if you look back a couple of years, how-to videos, you will see how I made it. Literally, you can just see I've put the little nail into there, and I get a handful of grass. I tend to use various colours because grass isn't one colour, so don't be afraid. Like there, it's quite a yellow one, mix it in with that, you press the button, that makes an electrical contact, and then you just gently shake it over the glue that you've applied. And if I just do a bit, I will come in a little bit closer, and hopefully you'll be able to see the actual strands of grass standing up. It's not a very technical process, just shake the thing and apply it. And like I say, I use all different colours, mix it in as I'm going, so I get a contrast on what it looks like. If you get a big lump fall off and land in it, don't worry, it could be a tuft of grass, unless you was doing a tennis court or a golf course. You don't want it too even. But it's I quite enjoy doing this, quite therapeutic. The only trouble with this is not so good on vertical bits. Obviously horizontal angle is not too bad, but you might have to go back over once you've finished an area and stick in a few bits by hand rather than using this. But just to give you, I don't know whether we can get into it a little bit closer, and whether you will pick up just, what's that looking like? Yeah, you can see obviously here the strands sticking up. If when you put this over it, you press the button, you can just see it pulling the hairs, making it stand up better. It's always worth running over it after you've done it, but like I say, I'll just give you an idea of how I do that. And obviously that's the one that I've made, must be about 2 years ago. There's a video of how to make it, and that's been a brilliant tool. I know the Knock static grass applicator when I first started was, I think, about £140, so I think that was a £5 well spent. Anyway, I'll finish this bit off, and then we'll probably have a look at how I get on with scenicking up the next bit. Right, finished off this bit. You can see there's like little bits of white showing through, but usually when it dries back, doing it with a brown background, it should cover in quite nicely. I've also done this bit over here, so that's really the static grass taken care of. Like I say, you can see I've used some different shades, a lot darker green there, a bit of light, And just to give you an idea of what I use, these two bags here and that one, that's a product called Siliflor. I got it from International Models, but I've been looking online and I'm having difficulty finding their website, but they was an English company. And like I say, I'll just give you an idea of the different shades of green that I use. Obviously that, if you see, that's quite green and yellow, bit of dark green, and there's another shade there. So it just gives you a little bit of an idea that I don't use one colour. I usually use that lighter one with the green and yellow as a base, and then I mix these other colours in as I'm going, and it, you know, seems to work quite well. But I'm going to leave it to that, and perhaps we'll show how I detail up with doing like the trees and a little bit of different colour over the static grass. But probably have a go at one of these other sections next. Oh, here we are. We got done a bit of woodland down through here. Probably have a bus going by for a moment. So I've made these trees up mainly out of sea foam. There's a few there that I've done with the Woodland Scenics armatures. They came with some loose leaf foliage. So like I said, that one there, a couple in behind. I'd stuck moss to them and put a bit of scatter, used various colours, and that one there, the ready one, and that one there was the natural sea foam, and I've done nothing to it whatsoever. I've just stuck them in place. I thought it just breaks it up, a little bit of colour sticking out. Made it quite a nice scene. And what I bought this on eBay quite a while ago, and that's CM3 Models Trees for the Wood medium box. That was full up, and basically I've done all of that over there with what came out of this box, and this was one of the Gauge Master boxes I had, seafoam trees. And that's what's left. I mean, basically that's the only box I bought for this layout. So it's done, I think it's done a lot around here, in the corner, down the other end. So and all we do is, I use this contact spray adhesive as carpet tile adhesive, spray that on. And then I got some various colours of scatter here. These are the Woodland Scenics leaves. So dark green and light green. And there's a mid-green in there. Just scatter that on and place them in. Gives it a nice bit of variation. I don't bother to spray the sea foam because, to be honest, you can barely see any of the trunks, and doing something like this, if you had individual trees, I think you could do with spraying them brown, but like I say, works in really well. There's that bit covered in. Can't see much of the static grass with the polystyrene now, covered in. And I've found somewhere to put my camping coach on this disused side in, so probably weather that down a bit. But probably, as either I go on and clad these bridges in, do the stonework on these, or I might do the fence around the edge of this road and scenic up this bank. But you'll have to wait and see what we do next. Well, decided to have a go at the fence. One of my favourite jobs, drilling holes in matchsticks, 0.6mm diameter holes, and then threading florist wire through. So I thought we'll do that bit next. So this is about 2.5 hours work to drill them out, fix them, and I I've given the posts a coat of sleeper grime, watered down. So I've given that old look, and what I shall do is obviously plant a few trees up against it. Probably have a little bit of the mat in and drop over it to make it look like brambles, so it will be a little bit overgrown. So that's probably the next bit. I'll do this section here and get a bit of scenery around this bit, and then I'll probably have a go at the bridges, so I'll come back to it shortly. Evening. Right, we've scenicked up this last bit of embankment. Use some various products here, some long static grass, bit of fine leaf foliage, that light green there, and yeah, it's come up quite well. We've lost most of the fence now, but that's what I quite like. It's worked in quite well. Worked in a few trees down over this embankment. And obviously a big gap there where the bridge is going, but just thought I would show you this little section, and that's most of the greenery done now. Probably we'll leave it to that because I think this is going to make quite a long video, and I'll catch you next time probably sorting out the tunnel moves. But anyway, we'll leave it to it. Thanks for watching. As I say, comments appreciated, and bye for now.